Hey guys, and welcome back to the Game Not Game podcast. My name is Green, and with me, as always, is my co-host Zen from his channel Zen and Cyrene. How you doing, Zen?
I am doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well as well. I just saw something magical.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, on the BioWare rooftop, there is a goose nesting with several goose children, and they set up a webcam, and they have a live YouTube stream, which is a rare thing in and of itself, of just the goose sitting there on top of her babies 24/7. I wanted to check into it right before we started the stream, the podcast, but unfortunately it is dark there. So there's 400 plus people just hanging out in a chat on YouTube streaming, watching a black screen and talking about goose puns. That's a thing that's happening right now on the internet.
Yep, isn't the internet wonderful?
It's pretty great.
It is.
But it's really adorable, actually. If you go to the @BioWare, the Twitter account, you can see they've posted several GIFs of like highlights of the stream, and the top one right now is like a little yellow, dirty-looking baby goose like pokes out from under its mom and like looks around, and the mom's like, "Hey, get back here!" and then it like runs back under her wing.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's adorable.
It's adorable. It's so cute.
And they also, like, a lot of the time, they'll, like, poke their head actually through the feathers of her wing and just look around and then pop back down. It's really good. Yeah, it's adorable.
How long have they been streaming this?
Over a day, for sure. Over 24 hours. I think it's been, like, a day and a half. I'm not 100% sure. But also, one thing they did is they had people tweet names suggestions to them for the baby geese. And they made a goose bracket of like pitting the names against each other to fight for the names of the 6 baby geese. So there's the options were Shepbird, Admiral Quacket, Garroose, Scout Honking, HC Hick 47. I don't get that one at all. No, H Chick 47. That makes more sense. Darth Malgoose, Carver Hunk, Bethany Hunk, Erdnot Pex, Quackwall, Cassandra Pentagoose, and the Iron Bill. And then they ran six different polls to find the winners there. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, you see, the Iron Bill sounds like an actual character that could be in a Dragon Age game. You know, just the Iron Bill. Right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I think that it really could be. I don't even know what the pun is supposed to be because it's been like 4 years since I played any modern BioWare game.
Yeah, of all of these, I only know Shepbird. And
Me too.
Cassandra Pent something. I don't know. I played a tiny bit of Inquisition, but I don't remember her last name. But I know the character it's referring to anyway. So the winners out of those, the 6 goslings are Shepbird, Garroose, Darth Malgoose, Bethany Hunk, Erdnot Pex, and Cassandra Pentagoose. So congratulations to those geese who now have some of the most amazing names of any goose.
I know Garroose is a play on one of the Mass Effect alien playable characters. I just cannot remember.
Yeah, isn't it like Garrus or something?
Yes, Garrus.
Garrus, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's been so long. I never even played Mass Effect 3. I played 1 and 2 and enjoyed them, but I never got around to 3.
I've actually never played a Mass Effect. I tried to play a Dragon Age. Really didn't like it. I have a bad record with BioWare games. It's weird. Like, Katie loves them. Katie is an absolute BioWare fangirl, and I'm just like, every time I try to play one, I'm like, I don't know. It's not that fun.
Have you played the older ones?
Yeah, I tried Dragon Age 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. By that I mean Baldur's Gate.
No. Yeah, no. I haven't played anything that far back. Like, I didn't own a gaming PC at that time. So I wasn't really... I spent a good, 6 or 7 years almost completely out of the gaming scene. When I didn't really have anything that could game effectively. So yeah. I kind of missed BioWare's heyday, I think.
Yeah. BioWare is a really interesting company. I mean, between Baldur's Gate and what's it, Mass Effect. I did not play any of the games in between that, but the one game that I knew came out from there because I was more paying attention to console games at the time was that they made a Sonic game at one point.
What?
They did, yeah. It's called Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
What?
And it's a turn-based RPG starring Sonic for the Nintendo DS.
You're fucking kidding me.
I am not kidding you.
This sounds so made up.
I know it sounds so made up.
I'm gonna Google this right now. Sonic Dark Chronicles?
Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Here it is. Wow, look at that cover art.
It's
oh my
amazing,
god! All you listeners out there who have access to a computer right now, you gotta Google Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood and just look at the cover art. It's amazing. It's that dramatic movie poster style where like in the background is a big portrait of one character and then in the foreground there's the smaller portrait of the other one. But in the background it's just fucking Sonic with his ridiculous like goggle eyes looking out into space, and there's space behind him. And he's just like looking determined. And then in front of him some sort of weird like goat robot is just like looking at its robot hand.
You know, the most ridiculous part about this picture, I think, is Sonic's arm. Just look at it. He has no bones.
No, yeah, his arm is just a piece of spaghetti that does whatever he tells it to by sheer force of will. Yeah, you go fast enough, you don't need bones.
No.
They just slow you
don't
down.
need bones where we're going.
No. The game initially focuses on the events surrounding the kidnapping of Knuckles and the disappearance of the Chaos Emeralds after the defeat of Dr. Eggman. Interesting. Wow, what a gripping tale that must be. I mean, BioWare is famous for really good stories, so I bet it has a good story.
Imagine if... I mean, Sonic Chronicles was before Mass Effect, but imagine if they had like a Paragon Renegade system for Sonic.
Dude, I want to see a crossover. I want to see Mass Effect where you play as Sonic.
Oh god, that might happen given all the experimentation that Sega has been doing with Sonic.
Yeah, Sega's really... Yeah, what a company.
Yeah.
They just don't know what to do right now. Like, they made their new Sonic game. What the fuck was that called? Sonic,
Man, I don't even know. It's so confusing now, the Sonic lineage.
Yeah, newest Sonic game. What was it called? No, I don't want to know about the first one. List of Sonic the Hedgehog games. This is so stupid. So never mind. The new crazy one with the big buff crazy Knuckles.
Big buff crazy Knuckles.
Did you not see it?
Biker dude. I think we might even have talked about it before. I
bet we have.
Remember.
Yeah, no. The character art is insane. It's like, so they did that, and it was like almost a return to the insanity of Sonic. What was that? It was just called like Sonic 2007 or something. Do you remember that one?
Infamous one? Yeah, the one with the kissing scene?
Yeah, the one where Sonic makes out with a human woman. I think we have talked about this on the podcast before. This is feeling like a familiar conversation, but yeah, the one where Sonic makes out with his weird like anime girl who is entirely human, and it's just like so weird because Sonic is like 2/3 of her height and this crazy little like boneless hedgehog bastardization thing. It's like you can have one art style or the other. You can't have Sonic in his like blue insanity next to just an anime female who belongs in a Final Fantasy.
It's so dissonant.
It's
really is.
Weird. Yeah, it's like really weird. So they did that, and then like this new one, god damn it, what is it called? Sonic.
I don't know which one you're talking about exactly.
It's the new
there's
one.
So many of them now. Lost World.
No.
I don't know. Generations. No, that's not it.
No, it's Sonic Boom. Sonic
Boom lyric something.
No, it's just called Sonic Boom.
Okay, this is. You see, I mean, it really goes to show this is more complicated than it needs to be.
Oh yeah. God, there's some really good fan art of Sonic Boom. Just
Really?
in the, like, yeah, when you Google Sonic with buff Knuckles.
Well, I googled Sonic Boom. You googled Sonic with buff knuckles.
No, because I didn't know it was called Sonic Boom at the time.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's how I found out it was called Sonic Boom. And Google knew what I was talking about, but it also showed me some incredible fan art.
Okay, I gotta look at this now. Sonic with buff. Okay,
yeah.
I misspelled it. Oh my god.
It's really good.
Wow.
Shit, what? I don't know what my point was anymore bringing this up.
I'm looking. I'm looking at this with one that's just like a pencil shaded Knuckles with a syringe in one arm and "I love mom" tattoo on the other, saying "tougher than leather."
There he is. What a man.
Yeah, it's something.
Whoa! There's a toy. That's fucking. That can't be real, right? There's
No,
like
that's
this
probably a
really
pirated
fucked up
thing.
looking Knuckles toy that comes with a syringe thing.
Well, there are all these bootleg things, you know.
Yeah. Is that? Oh, it's probably a pump. It looks like a syringe, but I bet it's a pump to like blow him up.
It's probably a pump in the same sentence as Sonic. Yeah, I have no idea what
Oh my
this is.
god! There is some incredible Bleach Sonic crossover fan art here. Of have you read or watched Bleach, the anime manga?
Oh god, I could go on and on about Bleach. Oh my god, I could dedicate a whole podcast to my opinions on that.
Okay, so you remember back when it was okay when Ichigo first fights Zaraki?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture of that where Sonic is Ichigo and Knuckles is Kenpachi, and it's pretty amazing. It's so like it takes itself so fucking seriously.
Yep, I'm sure.
It's just really dramatic. It's colored with markers, actually colored very well with markers. And it's just like Knuckles with the scar across his chest and the eye patch just looking down at Sonic menacingly, and Sonic looking scared, like looking back up. Wow, amazing.
It's theater of the mind, folks. I heard that recently, and I don't remember from where. But this is theater of the mind. Imagine it.
Yeah, this is great. Wow.
Well,
What a world.
speaking of Zaraki Kenpachi, he finally got his Bankai. For those of you who read Bleach or
Oh
follow
my god.
Bleach. Yeah.
I remember like he couldn't even do like the second stage thing, right?
Yeah,
Way back in the
when
day.
he transfers his sword, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
He couldn't
I
even
don't-
talk to his sword. He was a noob.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell you what it is after the podcast, just in case. You
Yeah,
are
spoiler
waiting.
alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
That's kind of a spoiler in itself that he gets his Bankai. You might want
Well,
to bleep that out.
Well, it's I'm okay with that because it was going to happen eventually anyway. Because
Yeah.
this Tite Kubo is so predictable.
Yeah.
And we're coming to the end of the series, he said. He said 2 years ago that we're coming to the end of the series, right?
Yeah, only another 10 years.
Another 10 years to go. He's just dragging it out. Like, all of the captains that we haven't seen their Bankais for are just Bankaiing left and right now.
Oh,
At
really?
this
Were
point.
there... I felt like we had seen most of their manga. I don't know. I watched the anime. I haven't read the manga. And I stopped watching the manga, or the anime, too long into it, but not very far into it. Like, there was the emo Spanish dude.
The emo Spanish dude.
Yeah. The Espada
Oh, the Espada.
dude.
Yeah, I don't remember. The Bleach has been going on for like more than a decade now, I think.
Yeah. It was... I was very far behind when I stopped watching the anime in, like, 2007.
Yeah, but well, I don't think it's not really worth watching all of it at this point. I think.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not worth watching a good 45% of what I had watched. Did I say 45? 75% is what I meant
Yep.
to say. Yeah, it was just, it turned into a train wreck real fast after after he saved Rukia. It was just like, okay, now we just gotta figure out some shit to do.
Yeah, that's more or less it. I mean, let me just explain it real quick what a Bankai is. Bankai is all of these Shinigami, they call it, these warriors. I'm not even going to explain too much, but their Bankai is supposed to be their ultimate power that's based on their weapon.
Yeah,
So
and
that's what it is.
if you couldn't guess this, Ichigo, the main character, gets like 2 or 3 levels over his Bankai just in the bit that I watched.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps on finding, like, new superpowers. He's like, okay, now I can go for my Bankai, and then it's like I have a normal sword, so then I can do 2 more forms after that, and then I have a mask that's also crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just keeps on raising the stakes, too. It's like, oh, no, Ichigo, you can't become any more powerful, you'll die, and he's like, no, fuck you, and then he gets more powerful. And that's like every single time. Every single time he's told he's gonna die.
Yeah, the power creep in shonen manga is really something to behold.
It really is. Yeah, because they just keep on having to raise the stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every single time. It's like, no, you're gonna die even more this time. Nobody's ever done this before. Oh, now, like, nobody's ever done this before for real.
I mean, let's put it this way, okay? As far as I'm concerned, Bankai are like Super Saiyan, but, without the orange hair or yellow hair.
That's precisely.
That's basically what it is at this point, right?
Yeah, it's just the big, powerful move that people do in anime.
Mm-hmm. Well, after the podcast, I'll tell you about some of the Bankai that's been going on.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it here, especially if you are keeping up the anime, which is behind the manga, of course.
So this is why you don't have time to play Dark Souls, because you're reading Bleach.
Oh, God. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. Bleach is like the Game of Thrones of manga at this point.
Oh, man. Is that really a fair comparison? I feel like that's a pretty big burn on Game of Thrones.
No, well, yeah, of course. I would like to see, though, some Game of Thrones people just suddenly just cast off everything and just Bankai.
Mm-hmm.
Or go Super Saiyan or whatever the power du jour is.
I can see Bran doing that.
Yeah, Bran doing that,
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, I don't know, that Lannister guy, what was his name? Yes, Jaime. One of his arms becomes like super big or something. Super big. I mean, speaking like his knuckles.
Hopefully the one with a hand on it.
Yep.
He just gets like super buff in his arm where he's missing a hand. He's like, fuck. No, that's what I always thought. Like, he should just get like a sword attachment for his arm.
He should, right?
It doesn't, yeah, because he's always complaining like, oh, I can't fight with my left hand. It's so shitty. It's like, just strap a sword to your arm. Figure it out. You'll be all right.
I mean, if it puts a hook in it, that's already,
yeah, exactly,
pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's decent. But yeah, if you get something strapped like all the way down to your elbow, then it would be pretty solid there. Like, people wouldn't be able to just tear it off of him easily.
Yeah.
So you could do some poking. It wouldn't be as good, but I think it would be better than trying to fight left-handed, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a professional medieval swordsman though, so I'm sure you would have thought of that.
Yep. Anyway, we were talking about Geese.
We were talking about Geese. We were.
The only thing I'm going to say about Geese at this point is that I have been doing some reading about Geese just independently because I like reading about Geese, and there are a couple of things that struck me as interesting. First of all, some geese do not migrate anymore. We're talking about Canadian geese here specifically. They don't migrate because they have it so good in certain parts of the United States that they don't have to.
Right, just a lot of like McDonald's French fries and stuff. Or...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And speaking of that, some geese are known to actually be able to open garbage cans and look around in them for food.
That doesn't surprise me. Geese are motherfuckers, by the way.
They are!
When I was a kid, I was like 5 years old, and I was feeding geese. I don't know why my parents thought that was like a great place to take me, but we were in the park, and I had some breadcrumbs, and I was handing out breadcrumbs, and this goose just walked up to me, and I was like, hey, do you want some food? And it bit me on the knee.
It bit you on the knee?
It like hard. It just like
oh my God.
bent down his neck really fast and just bit me hard.
Oh my God.
And I was like, whoa. And I was 5 years old, I started crying and like screaming and fell down. It was horrible.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, geese are terrifying creatures.
Well, I'll tell you. My dad used to keep geese. He had a plot of land where he kept all kinds of things, and one of those things was 6 geese. Right, and these are not Canadian geese. It's geese, whatever geese you find in Malaysia. Okay. And they would generally keep away from me because these are not like used to humans, really.
Right.
But my dad decides one day to just pick up one of the geese and run away with it.
What?
And oh God, all those other geese, of course they went after him.
Oh man. Oh, that would be awesome. Like, Because, like, at this point, I'm not afraid of one goose, right? Like, geese, they're not that big. You could fight one off. And at the time when I was 5, it was like fighting a dinosaur. It was roughly the same size as me. But I can only imagine what it would be like trying to fight a horde of geese. Like, that would be legitimately horrifying. They could just, like, fly on top of you and knock you down. And just devour you.
Like, I mean, seriously, I'm in my 30s, and I don't want to fight a goose.
No, still. I wouldn't choose to. I definitely wouldn't choose to fight one, and I would actually be afraid if I had to fight 10 who were, like, coordinated and all wanted to kill me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That would be a seriously bad situation.
Oh, God. But the goose in the BioWare cam looks really cute, and the goslings are cute too.
Oh yeah, apparently they tweeted about how there's 2 geese, right? There's the mother and the father goose, and the father goose, while all this is going on up there and he's not gathering food for them, is just hanging out in the parking lot, honking at people who try to get too close to the rooftop. It's just being a goosey motherfucker trying to keep people away from the nest.
Oh God! Hey, male birds of that size can be badasses.
Oh, totally.
Big old annoyances, or both.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time that Cyrene and I saw turkeys outside of a Starbucks?
No.
Yeah, there were just turkeys outside of a Starbucks.
Where?
And, this was in the East Bay, California.
Wow.
Right, and because that town is near the hills, and 100 years ago, some people from Texas decided to introduce geese into California, and turkeys into California, and that's where we got them. But the turkeys, it was a flock of turkeys, or whatever the collective noun is, and there was one huge male turkey, right? The whatever it's called, not the gander, whatever, and it was staring down a police car in the middle of the road. The cop car was trying to move. The turkey was blocking it. Right. And the turkey just wouldn't budge. It just stared down the police car. It was the best thing.
Are you... Like, the cop couldn't have seriously just, like, slowly kept moving forward?
He was trying.
Like, too slowly, though, to hurt the turkey, but you just keep going. The turkey's gonna move at some point, right? It's not. The
turkey's gonna move at some point,
yeah,
right?
Like either that or it's gonna slowly get run over. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you can't really blame yourself.
I'm sure the situation resolved itself one way or another, but
man, it's lucky that didn't happen in Ferguson or something. That turkey would have gotten pepper sprayed.
Or UC Davis, for that matter.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't want to go too much into politics here or whatever, but just to let you know, in case you haven't heard it, the Chancellor of UC Davis, Linda Katehi, she got put on administrative leave today. So
today?
Today.
Oh
yeah.
Man, I was thinking of an earlier UC Davis thing.
What
did she do?
It's related to that. Well, I mean, one of the accusations against her is that she hired one of her relatives to be her chief of staff, and then improperly gave her like $50,000 of raises.
Oh man!
And then, of course, there's a whole thing in which the cop pepper sprayed students a couple of years ago in a very awful, casually terrible way. And
there's an incredible video of that happening that you can look up, where it's these people are literally just lined up and like sitting or kneeling or something. Aren't they kneeling? I don't know. I don't remember. But they're obviously subdued, I think. And the cop just like walks down the line with a fucking like fire extinguisher of pepper spray and just sprays them down. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
So apparently, UC Davis spent about $100,000 trying to get that off the internet, which always works.
Good luck. Yeah, that's. How do you?
I don't know.
I don't understand how people think that's possible now. You're just gonna sink money into like people saying they'll delete it, and then it's still gonna exist.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I mean, the irony of this is that it's been a few years. If they hadn't spent the money to do that, it did not come to light. I think it would just have been mostly forgotten. Yeah,
probably. I don't know. It is like one of the most intense pictures of police brutality in just how casual and stupid and pointless it was. Like, it's one of those iconic pictures of, like, here's a police officer who just does not give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I'll severely hurt all these people. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I do think, though, the fact that they tried to scrub it off the internet just reignited the whole thing. So they shouldn't
probably
have
didn't
just
help.
done that.
Yeah. It's just not a thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
What a strange decision. I didn't know they did that, actually. Wow.
Yeah, so the chancellor is now on administrative leave. There's an interim chancellor, and there's going to be an investigation.
Yeah, that's probably warranted.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about next?
Well, I think you had a promise to the viewers.
Ah, yes, I did. Yes, last episode I thought I was going to talk about. I said I was going to talk about bootleg Nintendo and Game Boy games that I played and all my friends played when we were kids, because it was almost impossible, I think, to get actual authentic games when we were growing up in Malaysia. So I want to ask you, actually, do you have any experience? Like, when I say a bootleg game, what do you think of? Like a bootleg Nintendo or Game Boy game? What comes to mind?
One of those cartridges where they stick like 6 games on one cartridge and they all don't work very well.
Yep, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So to explain a little bit more, the Nintendo quote-unquote that I had in Malaysia is actually a bootleg Famicom, because they also bootleg the hardware, right?
Right.
So we would play cartridges, like you said, that said 6-in-1, and they would have Super Mario, Twinbee, and some other Nintendo games on there, sometimes with things stripped out in order to make the games fit, I think, into one cartridge. And that was the reality for gaming for me when I was playing Nintendo games back then. I didn't know anything else. So it got to the point, though, because people started one-upping themselves. These manufacturers, these pirates, started one-upping themselves. So 6-in-1 became 12-in-1.
Oh god.
And then 25 and 50, 100-in-1. And the fact of the matter is that they didn't actually squeeze 100 distinct Nintendo games into one cartridge. No. They would make a slight change to each one and call it that one game. So it will be Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario A, Super Mario B, and
Oh no.
there'll be the slight palette change for some of them, and maybe some of the stages will be out of order for others, but they will count that towards the games.
Right. Oh,
Right.
man. That's really good.
Yeah. So, and there will be this weird ROM hacks in which they put the Mario sprite in Tiny Toons and call that Super Mario 8
Yeah.
or something.
Perfect.
Of course, Tiny Toons itself would still be in the cartridge.
Yeah.
And it got to the point, actually, and this is where it gets really ridiculous, and I looked this up. There's an actual cartridge with 9 million games in one.
That's
Quote unquote.
That has to have been like the first example of procedural generation in video games. Like, they had to have just procedurally generated 9 million games and stuck them all on one cart.
I went and looked up a YouTube video of this thing, right? Because I guess it's infamous.
Oh, does somebody play all 9 million?
No, they just showed the menu. And the
Okay.
menu is a thing to behold by itself. All right. So imagine this, right? You've got a long list, scrolling vertical list of games, and it's Super Mario with some combination of numbers and letters appended to it, right?
Right.
Super Mario C201, Super Mario A69.
Perfect.
Right. So that's the text. In the background of this menu is a beach scene, okay?
Okay.
And throughout the whole thing, a MIDI version or an 8-bit version of Unchained Melody is playing. That really old Everly Brothers song from the 1950s.
Good.
All right. So you've got this Hawaiian beach scene. You've got all these games there that are listed, like Mario 451 or something like that. Now all of these, this menu is paginated, as you can imagine. You can't put 9 million or whatever number there is in one page. So you have to scroll through page 1, page 2, page 55, whatever, and the scene changes slightly for each one. Okay, so there are variations, right? Some of them have seagulls. One of them has like a man and a woman standing on the beach. Okay, and it starts to change. All right, so they'll be holding hands or hugging. Sometimes there's a tent. The tent, it's sunset, then it becomes night at the tent, and then the woman comes out of the tent. So this is meta story going on as you're scrolling through like whatever the hell, like Aladdin 51.
Yeah,
just going through it, and I think there's sharks in the water too. It's just this incredible thing.
So the background's like a flip book almost.
It's like a flip book, yeah.
Wow. What a strange thing to spend time on.
I know.
If you're like, yeah, what is going through your head, first off, when you decide it's a good idea to make a cartridge with 9 million games on it, when nobody is ever going to get past page 3? And then, what is additionally going through your head when you're like, oh, we got to add some more value to this cart. Let's put, like, this weird story in the background of pixel art. Like, they had to have a pixel artist working with them drawing all this shit. To what end?
I don't know. I would imagine it's pure marketing. Because
marketing, though, like at a certain point, when you're on page 250 of like 9 million games, it stops being marketing. Like you've already made the sale at that point.
So okay, so they didn't say this as much in the descriptions of the games, but since I actually lived in that time and I lived in Malaysia, I think I might have an answer for that. Some context, right? Sure. So if travel back in time with me to like 1989 or something, and
I was just born.
Okay, excuse me. Okay. But yeah, the shopping malls, what they would do is they would sell all these Nintendo games, quote unquote, right? Mm-hmm. And they would have a TV out for the demos.
Oh yeah,
right. Okay. Yeah, that's a thing that I don't think ever happens in America anymore. But well, they do. But
I bet it does in Best Buy. I don't know. I haven't been to Best Buy in years, but
yeah, they do for like the. I guess they do. Well, I take that back.
I bet so. Anyway,
so if you were a parent at the time and you saw this thing, right, and it says 9 million games in one, and you're like, sweet, my kid will never have to pester me again.
Yeah, exactly. Got it. Like you're not
got him.
How many millions of games did you play today that you really need a new game? Come on.
Exactly. And it's got this pretty background and music from the age in which the parents were listening to. Then I think would be more appealing than just a black menu of like 20 games to a parent. My guess.
Yeah, you're totally right. Just the fact that it, like, goes through a story, I don't know. It's just a strange thing. I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing is weird. What an amazing era of technology.
Well, I've got an even better one for you, and I'm going to paste that in the chat real quick so that you can have a look at this. So for Game Boy games, they did pretty much the same thing, right? In which, get the chat up, in which they would try to squeeze 200 games in one, or 20 or whatever. But they had to make the cartridges bigger.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm looking at this Game Boy cartridge that is like 2.5 times as long as an ordinary Game Boy cartridge, and it's just sticking up the top of the Game Boy.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's kind of ingenious, though.
It is.
I kind of love that. Like, they were just like, oh, we don't have enough space to store 182 games. Instead of just like making them shittier, they just made a bigger cartridge.
They did. It's. I mean, if remind me, viewers, to tweet out these pictures or something. It literally sticks out of the Game Boy.
Oh yeah,
it's that long.
Lot. It sticks out of the Game Boy by an entire cartridge length.
And I remember this. I knew to switch for this because when I was a kid, one of my friends had one of these things. And I borrowed it from him, and to me it was completely normal. Because I thought to myself, they need more space for games, so it has to be longer.
Yeah, it's genius. That's kind of a great marketing thing too. It's like, look how much value you're getting. You can physically see the extra games you're getting. There's a good like 4 inches of extra video game here. Mm-hmm. Not 4 inches probably, but at least 2.
Yeah, it's the extra space is about as long as the Game Boy screen itself.
Yeah. Incredible. Oh wow, yeah. Castlevania is on it? Castlevania Adventure.
Yeah, the first Game Boy Castlevania, if I'm not mistaken.
How awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of things that I remember playing as a kid Some things have very questionable translation, like Super Chinese Land.
Super Tank 2, Super Tank 3.
And I don't even know of all these games which ones I like the most. Maybe I might go investigate some of these and report back next week. But
yeah, can we get this ROM? This should be our next game of the week. 182.
Just get like a pirated ROM.
Yeah, Super 182 in 1 for the Nintendo Game Boy TM.
Maybe I should just make this a recurring segment in which I investigate some of these really strange things.
For protection, when cartridge is not in use, place cartridge inside protective plastic case is embossed in the back of this. I guess it came with a case just for this fucking gargantuan Game Boy
I
cartridge.
think what it is, I don't know if it came with a case. I don't remember anymore, but that's like the standard language for a Game Boy cartridge.
Oh, are you supposed to provide your own protective plastic case for them?
Oh no, back in the day, those Game Boy cartridges would always come with their own plastic cases.
Okay.
Like, by default. So
Gotcha.
they put it back in there.
Yeah, I think I had 1 or 2 of those for Game Boy Pocket games. I never had an original Game Boy, but I did have a Game Boy Pocket.
I still have my original Game Boy. It's still with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My Game Boy Pocket is in this house somewhere.
Ah.
It's not like next to me or anything, but I could probably find it if I had a day to sort through shit.
Oh god, I've been packing for like weeks.
Oh man.
And that's where I find this stuff. Like Serene and I have been spending so much time just sorting through things. I bet that original Game Boy still works. It's like 26 years old. They made those tough.
Yeah, they're like bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's like one tiny little computer chip in there, and it's just surrounded by hardened plastic.
Back in the day, I read Nintendo Power whenever I came to the United States, and somebody wrote in. They went to Operation Desert Storm, as a soldier, that Iraq war, Saddam Hussein, etc. And his Game Boy was burned, right? There was some kind of accident, and it just burned up,
man.
right? And it still worked.
Of course, it did.
He was shocked, but he had to write it in, and it came with a picture of that blackened Game Boy, and with the power light still on and displaying the game on the screen.
Jesus Christ! Nowadays, if you drop your Wii U weird screen controller, it will probably shatter immediately.
Yep.
Those were the days. I still remember I had really bad anger issues as a child, like a 6-year-old child, and I was playing my Sega Genesis, and I would die at the end of Sonic 2 or something and lose my last life, and you would have to start all the way back at the beginning when that happened, and I would be like, nope, game cheated. I'd be really mad about it, and I would throw my brick of a Genesis controller at our CRT TV with 4-inch thick glass on it, and nothing would happen to either object. I would repeatedly throw my controllers as hard as I could at the TV. All of those objects still work.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
So, if you have any tales of bootleg games for whatever reason, please do let us know at our email, gamemail@gmail.com.
I'd love to hear more stories about that. I unfortunately never had any bootleg anything. The closest I got was Chex Quest, which was a cereal box Doom port.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you talking about that.
I think we talked about it on a previous Game Not a Game. But pretty much it was a Doom reskin made by the Chex people. You played as a giant piece of Chex, teleporting goo enemies back to their dimension because you couldn't kill anything in a cereal box game.
Mm-hmm.
What an era. Okay,
well, I might go back and investigate some of these individual games. I don't know. If I do remember to do that, maybe I'll talk about the next podcast.
You know what I like? What one of my favorite things is about the indie game movement right now? Is that for a long time there was a middle period of video games where everything was controlled by corporations, and so video games stopped being quite as crazy. Because like when I was a kid, video games were insane. Like, yeah, of course, just a mod of Doom that's about cereal. That makes perfect sense in my head. And then like that stuff went away for a while, and now indie games are kind of replacing that. Like indie games can be absolutely ridiculous and absurd. We can have a game in like really badly translated Japanese about a lobster fighting a barnacle.
And the follow-up to that too.
Yeah, it is just great. Indie games are good. Indie games are bringing something back to video games that was missing for a while.
I absolutely agree. I mean, even on Steam now, there's so many just off-the-wall ones.
Yeah, just insane shit. And people like to get mad about that, but like, to a great degree, it's just kind of cool to me that shit exists. Even if I wouldn't want to buy it or play it, it's still cool that there's like this insane, crazy bullshit out there that I can hear stories about.
I really appreciate it. I mean, back in the day when I was actually active on Greenlight and actually voting things up on Greenlight, I would see all these things saying, this doesn't belong on Steam, and no, everything belongs on Steam. Well, not everything, but I want to see more variety on Steam always.
Yeah, to an extent. I do miss when the front page of Steam used to be a relevant thing. I think it should be a combination. You know, I think Steam should kind of like curate to the point where like the front page and the recent releases and stuff can get you to things that matter, but at the same time, like, you should be able to find just random crazy shit somewhere on Steam. But it shouldn't be such that you check the like upcoming releases and most of it is insane bullshit that shouldn't even be sold because it's just like weird asset flipping bullshit for $10.
Yeah, a little bit more curation would be nice, but at the same time, I actually like seeing a lot of this insane stuff.
It is pretty good,
but I'm probably not. It's probably not a common sentiment. So
speaking of things that don't belong on Steam, did you hear that ArcShot got greenlit?
yes, I heard about that.
So Mike Malbec, a good friend of mine, who got angry at Steam for totally fucking him out of revenue at one point and said that he would kill Gabe Newell. His game got taken off Steam, and Steam publicly said they would never work with his company again, which was a huge blow to him, and he's been poor since that. And he made a new game, and his publisher just put it on Greenlight, and it got greenlit. It's ArcShot. I've played it. It's good. It's a multiplayer game about wizards shooting each other with bows. And it's just a really like simple one-shot kill multiplayer FPS. It's actually really, really well done. And we'll see if it stays on Steam. I'm kind of worried. He has kind of like a hater brigade that was like constantly trolling the Paranautical Activity forums and saying terrible things about him. And I wonder if they've all already sent emails to Gabe Newell like, hey, this game's on Steam now, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, since it's going through the publishing company, it's not as though he tried to sneak the game onto Steam.
No, not at all.
Using the company that was banned.
Yeah, it's not like he snuck it on, but it's still something that Valve said they wouldn't do, is work with him again.
Right.
So we'll see.
Okay. Well, letters. We did get one email this week.
That's true.
And it's we should not read the name of this person, but. Do you want to go ahead and read it?
Sure. Hey, it's me again. This is the person who wrote in, who had their real name as their email address, so I didn't read it out loud. But they were the one who asked us about early access last week. So he says, hey, it's me again. Thanks for answering my last email. I listened to your comments, and I realized I might have come off a little too strongly against early access. No, I mean, that's a really common sentiment. It's just one that I don't necessarily agree with. But he says, but this time I decided to do a not game-related topic. I was wondering if you guys like listening to music, and if you do, what genres of music do you usually listen to? And when do you listen to music? Typically, I listen to various genres and artists, but recently I've been listening to a lot of video game music. I find that it helps me concentrate when I'm studying or doing work. I usually like listening to other types of music when I'm doing something that requires little concentration or want to listen to music. I would listen to music while on a train or on a bus. Anyways, I would like input about yourselves. Thanks. What do you think, Zen? Music.
There was a time in my life in which I would actively seek out new music, like going on audio blogs and stuff. These days, I don't really do that anymore. But as for the kind of music I listen to, when I'm working, I listen to basically a lot of stuff that helps me concentrate.
Yeah.
Right? like he said, video game music is good for that because it's meant to enhance what you're trying to do, not to take the place of it. And things that I listen to because I like, it's mostly hipster bullshit. like indie alternative stuff, alternative from the 90s.
Yeah.
Something that an artist that I've really gotten into since last year is a man. His name is Kishibashi, which is he is a single act, and he's a violinist. Uses a lot of loops, and his music is at the same time very catchy and also a little bit pretentious. But I like it because it's catchy and it's actually very much a distillation of who he is. So. So very fun to listen to and also very unique.
Cool.
And how about you?
I'm aligned with this guy in that I do some writing work sometimes, and when I'm writing about something, absolutely can't listen to lyrics because I'll fucking hear a word and write it down, and that ends up badly. So for that, again, video game music is fantastic for stuff like that. If I'm trying to concentrate on words, especially, something like video game music is great. I also like to listen to some remixes on YouTube and so forth. Actually, a friend of mine, Michaela, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but Miklachu is her Twitter handle, and she's in a band called Tetrimo, and they do some pretty amazing video game covers. So I like listening to stuff like that, stuff along those lines. God, there's so many that I've listened to at one point and then fucking forgotten about, so I can't tell you the name of it, but there's a lot of really good stuff if you look around on YouTube as far as like video game remixes. So I like that sort of thing. But when I'm doing something like driving, I actually have a bunch on my phone that's just kind of like, I just grab some stuff that I knew I liked. I have some Red Hot Chili Peppers, I have some Nirvana, like just very generic fucking music. I'm so boring when it comes to music. I'm very, I'm lazy about trying to seek out new music. Like I think you said you are. Like the time it would take me to like figure out new artists I like and then get those songs and put them on my phone is just like not something that I want to put in, so I don't. And I feel bad about it because I do enjoy listening to music when I do, and I love it when somebody shows me a new song, but the act of like going out and seeking out new music I find exhausting. So I'm pretty boring with my musical tastes.
If I had more time, I would go exploring Bandcamp a lot more because there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's just lack of time.
Totally.
So, since he said video game music, before we move on to the game of the week, is there any particular video game that has a good soundtrack that sticks out to you? Like just off the top of your head?
The original Castlevania actually has like some of the greatest early video game songs of all time, and like I love remixes of the Vampire Hunter, which is like the one you would think of. Like,
Yep, I know the one.
Yeah, that one's, it's such a fucking incredible track for what they did with it in 8-bit.
Yeah.
Like, so remixes of that tend to be incredibly good, I think.
When I bought the DS game, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, and I pre-ordered it, and it came with like just ridiculous pre-order bonuses. It came with like a Castlevania themed game holder. It came with a little poster and also an art book and a stylus. And it also came with a music CD with a whole bunch of Castlevania songs on it. And there was a time in my life in which I was just listening to that CD over and over again because I just enjoy Castlevania music so much.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, you know what else has really fucking good music? Is actually the Dark Souls series.
Oh, I should listen to that. I've never played a game, the Dark Souls game, so I wouldn't know.
It's really unique. Most of Dark Souls actually doesn't have music. Usually you're just walking around and there's no music going on. But then you walk into a boss fight and there is fucking like Roman chanting and shit, and like the big like string instruments and everything. It's orchestral music, and it's just epic and amazing, and it always fits the boss really well. And it's something that I think Dark Souls is incredibly good at. And the menu music as well. That's something I was just thinking about in Dark Souls 3. Is just like it uses music with such restraint, and when it does it, it does it in such a non-video gamey way. It's not like, yeah, the music is not just like ambient, like, you know, whatever. We gotta have music in the background of this level. It's like the music is used to enhance moments, and it's really fucking good at that.
Okay, I'll check it out. Maybe the next time. Well, the next time I work tomorrow.
Yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really, really good. It's like, I don't know if it would be great work music because most of it is pretty like epic, like crazy chanting and like, you know, it's like high energy. You know, it's not ambient like most video game music is. But yeah, it's good.
My recommendation, just off the top of my head, for video game work music is Chrono Cross.
Oh yeah, I've heard great things about Chrono Cross music. I've heard some covers of it, but I've never played the original game, so I don't recognize the original songs.
Yeah, the music is just really good by itself. So
cool. Chrono Cross is one of those games where I always feel like I want to go back and play it, but then I'm like, it's a fucking JRPG from the SNES era. Like,
well, that's Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross is the sequel.
Oh fuck, that's right. What was Chrono Cross for? What system?
Chrono Cross was for the PlayStation, PS1.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and well, I liked it, although it wasn't as good as Chrono Trigger for various reasons, but I still liked it.
Okay. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is definitely what I was thinking of. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, Chrono Cross's music is, well, they use better it's a better soundtrack in my opinion, even though that's the unpopular opinion, I'm sure. But for working, it's definitely a lot better.
Gotcha. Cool. I just realized we're at 50 minutes. We should probably talk about the video game of the week.
We should. And that game is called March of the Living.
It is.
What did you think of it?
I was not particularly impressed. What did you think?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's not. I don't feel like it was as much of a flop as Downwell was, which I'm sure is a really unpopular opinion actually. But I just feel like I saw what it was going for, but it didn't execute it that well.
So, March of the Living bills itself as like FTL, but for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you play this character. You play a single character, but you can pick up party members as you go along, depending on the randomized events that you get. And you're trying to get across areas, which, because it's an FTL, like they call it sectors anyway, even though people don't generally do that to regions of their countries.
Yeah,
sectors.
that's what, I actually have a note written about that. I was like, map is strangely still divided into sectors. Maybe counties would have made more sense. You know, like what on earth?
Yep, exactly. Provinces, counties, whatever, right?
Yeah, it borrows very heavily from FTL in a lot of ways that don't make sense, like that one.
Yeah. Yep. The battle system attempts to be a little bit more on the active side, in which you can move your characters around and target zombies which are moving towards you in real time. There are game book style events that happen. You choose between choice A and choice B, and something good or bad or nothing might happen to you. And you scavenge cities. That's basically the gameplay. Is that right?
That sounds about right to me. Let me ask you something. In any of the random events you encountered on the road, not in a city, but just on the road, did you ever get something good happen to you?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, it never happened. Every single fucking one fucked me over. It was always like, oh, some monks want to invite you into their house, you know, their church, and you go in and you're like, oh, everything looks great in here. They're doing so well. And they'd usher you into a back room, beat you up, and take your shit. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, oh, some bikers are driving by. Do you want to flag them over and ask for help? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And they're like, they just fought me. And I'm like one dude, and there's 4 dudes with guns, so I just died. Hard.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I too went into a temple or cathedral full of monks, and they fed me a nice meal, and I took a nap.
You motherfucker! Oh my god, dude! One of my random events was literally, I didn't even have a choice on this one. It was one random event was just like, you know, oh, everything seems really safe. There's no zombies growing or anything. Everything seems great. I'll rest. I had just rested, so I had full fucking fatigue, so it didn't matter. So I got a rest, and then I got woken up by a zombie. So the whole random event was just I got forced to rest when I didn't need to, and then a zombie fucking attacked.
Oh
me.
yes, yeah. That I hate that event.
Like what the fuck? every time, I just started ignoring everybody because I thought they were all bad. I thought that was the trick of the game, was that every fucking thing that happens to you is terrible. I never once had a good event happen to me.
Well, you know what's interesting though? There are some events which are okay. So there's this one event, right, in which there's a cabin, and the cabin looks like it's undisturbed.
Yeah.
Right? You look inside the cabin and you see a blood stain, but that's it, right? And then you can choose to go in and scavenge or not.
Yeah, and then you go in and you get bit by a zombie and lose 3 HP. I know the end. Yep. I know how that story ends.
Yeah, and then you get infected, which will,
did that happen? I don't think that happened to me.
Oh, that happened to me.
Oh, really?
In which after that, I lose 1 health per day.
Oh, fuck.
But you can also find the cabin, look inside, see no blood stain, go inside and grab some stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, so that actually does happen in the game, in which I suspect there are a bunch of events like this, in which there's a very slight variation somewhere. And then if you remember which one it is, you can get something good out of it.
The monks seem so nice to me. I don't know what the tell was. They would just usher me into a back room and beat me up.
I don't know either. I haven't gotten beaten up by a monk yet.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah,
not since my childhood.
Oh, wow. Okay. But yeah, also the combat, I don't know, how do you feel about the combat in this game?
I thought it was mediocre. I don't really I just didn't find myself enjoying it very much.
So here's the issue I have. In FTL, right, like the combat is all about micromanaging and like balancing what task you're going to focus on and making sure everything's working well. In this game, it's almost entirely like the hand-to-hand combat from FTL, which is the worst part of FTL combat in my opinion, where you're micromanaging a dude who has to walk around these other dudes, and pretty much what I found was, like, you can equip a hammer and walk up to the zombie and attack the zombie, and there's a little bar to show you when your attack's done. And if you do that and then just walk back away from the zombie, they'll never attack you, because their attack takes longer than yours. So the entire fucking combat with zombies, anyway, with dudes with guns, they'll just fucking kill you outright, as far as I can tell. But combat against zombies is really boring, because it's just, like, micromanaging this dude to walk close to a zombie, attack, and then walk away, and you'll probably miss about like 60% of the time, or 40% of the time, and it will take a couple of hits to kill a zombie, so it's just really tedious. Sorry, go ahead.
I think, speaking of tedious, the whole game really kind of drags a little bit, because probably the biggest problem I have in the game, and to be fair to the developers, they added kind of like a fast forward button, but the quote-unquote sectors, if you compare it to something like FTL, you have to walk across at least 15 events before you get to the next sector. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the thing is, like, in this game, there's this walking segment where you have to pay attention to a growl meter. I don't know what the fuck that does. I think, like, when it gets too high, it raises your chance of being attacked by a zombie.
Well, when it fills it, you instantly get attacked.
Okay. But yeah, so you're going between these sectors, and in FTL you just instantly warp between them, and then you get the event at the sector. For this, you have to, like, wait while you're walking between them until something happens. And, like, as you're walking between them, you have to watch, like, your fatigue go up and your hunger go up, and then fix those as they happen. And it's just very, like, it feels like they took away a lot of streamlining from FTL.
Right, exactly.
It's really weird. It's almost like I could imagine if FTL was made by people who played this game and were like, wow, here's all the shit that sucks, let's fix all of that.
Right.
When in fact it's the opposite. Somebody was like, let's break all of this shit in FTL.
Right. I'm totally in agreement with you. I didn't think it was quote-unquote bad, but I find it hard to recommend.
Same. Yeah. Also, the writing every once in a while was a little stilted and weird. Like, did you ever... I'm sure you got to your ex's apartment, right?
Right.
So the overarching story of this is, like, your your ex-wife and son are living, like a few sector, or not even sectors, but a few like events away from you, and you want to go check out their apartment to see if they're all right, and you'll do anything to save your wife and son, and you get there and it's like the whole thing is just weird. I don't know, like it tries to get very dramatic with it. And I feel like one of the strengths of FTL was that the writing was all very neutral, so all of the emotional responses were up to you as a player. But this one is like, it's trying to make you really, like, it's trying to hit you with these emotional beats. It's like, oh my god, my ex-wife is dead, oh, I'll kill the motherfucker who did that, It's like, I don't know, it comes off a little bit hammy to me.
That event, the thing about that event, and this is very early on in the game, so it's not that much of a spoiler.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah, the thing about that event that gets me is the villainous boyfriend the boyfriend of the ex.
Yeah, you get this letter from your ex-wife's it's like, in Pokemon when you talk to Gary Oak and he's like, wow, guess you were too slow, Red. It's like that. This dude's like, oh, guess you're too slow again. I already got here. Too bad the lady's dead, but I took your son and I don't give a shit about him. I'll use him to steal stuff, and if he dies, he dies. And then after you read this note, instead of being like, wow, what a motherfucker, your dude's like, well, at least my son's safe, but he doesn't seem to care about him the way I do. And it's like, well, you fucking think? He's talking about using your son as bait for zombies. This guy is a comic villain.
He is.
He's a cross between a comic villain and Gary Oak.
Like, who writes that on a letter?
Yeah, right. It's just absurd. He's this bizarre caricature of your ex-wife's boyfriend. I
mean, some event happened that the wife died. Yeah. Instead of thinking, I've got to get out of here, come with me, boy. He sits down and pens this missive about his plans for the boy. Yeah, exactly. Just to be evil. The whole letter is about what a douchebag he is. So, there's that. Did you ever find the cabin that they live in? No, it's like in Sector 3. Yeah, exactly. It's a long way away. I've never made it out of Sector 1. I keep on getting fucked over by monks. I made it to Sector 2, and something always happens in which I die. So I've made it to Sector 2. At the end of Sector 1, you come to a bartering station in which you can buy and sell stuff, but nothing really noteworthy really happens. Because Sector 2 is more of the same. You're walking along, you see different events, you come to a city, you scavenge it for goods, maybe you get attacked by zombies, and that's really about it. Yeah. So that's March of the Living. It's I'm glad I checked it out because I was kind of interested in an FTL but unfortunately a little bit of a flop, a little bit too little FTL for my tastes. Yeah, I agree. I found it rather kind of mediocre. So, I would hold off until maybe Death Road to Canada comes out in a few weeks. What is that? It's exactly that. You are a bunch of zombie survivors, and you try to make it to the land of Canada where it's supposedly safe. And the game's been in development for a few years now. Oh, cool. And it's finally about to come out, and it looks like it might be better. Awesome. Well, that's unfortunate timing for March of the Living. Mm-hmm. But also, if this does sound really interesting to you, if you're a big fan of kind of text-based adventuring to a certain degree and FTL mechanics and stuff, maybe check this out on sale. I'm just not sure I would buy it at full price, but this is something I can see in the bargain bin at a Steam sale that you might check it out. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you don't mind that it drags a little bit, mm-hmm. and the combat is not interesting really, then you might like it. Yeah, there's certainly good things to be said about this. To me, the biggest dent against it is that it's FTL but worse. But if you really love zombie stuff, because I'm not that into zombie fiction, but if you really love zombie stuff, then this might be up your alley. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's our game of the week for this week. What is our game of the week for next week? Titan Souls, which is something that I've been meaning to get into for a long time. I played a little bit of it, and then
something came up in my life where I couldn't really play it anymore, and then I never went back to it. But Titan Souls, really fucking good game based on a Game Jam prototype that everybody loved so much that they developed it into a full game. You're a little dude with one arrow and a bow, and you have to fight these crazy things called, suitably Titans, that are, each one is a boss fight, and that's all there is in the game. It's just you go from boss fight to boss fight, trying to find their unique weak points and everything, and it's really good from what I've played, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. That is in a Humble Bundle. I really hope that Humble Bundle is still going to be going on by the time this comes out on Sunday. It's not? Fuck. Alright, well...
Oh, this Sunday? Yes, it will.
Yeah, by the time this podcast comes out, you should check out the Devolver Humble Bundle, because not only does it have Titan Souls, it has a lot of really good Devolver games in it. So you will not be wasting your money if you pick that up, and then you can play Titan Souls along with us and come back to discuss opinions with us next week.
Yep.
And that'll be on Zen's channel. Go subscribe to Zen, check out Head to Head on his channel, and then next week, check out next week's podcast, so don't miss that.
Yep, and you're on Green's channel right now. Be sure to subscribe to him. Check out his other videos while you're here. And also send us emails at GameNotGameMail@gmail.com.
Not to be confused with Game Not Mame Mail.
Game Not Mame Mail. That's the
It's a support group for... I can't think of anything not offensive to say. Never mind.
No, it's the podcast in which they play every game except emulated arcade games on the computer. Game Not Mame.
That's really good. They just talk. They just shit on. They spend 20 minutes of every episode shitting on Mame.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week with more Game.Game, more Head to Head.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.